Hello, everybody. Welcome to Two Writers Talk, where two aspiring authors and writers talk about your favourite and hated stories. I am one of your hosts, Deadmaster Zero. I go by he, him pronouns.
And I am the Artful Narrator. You can call me Zan, and I also go by he, him pronouns.
Actually, now before we do officially start, I do want to say one thing that our last episode we failed to mention was recorded during Pride Month. So I just want to say Happy Pride. I hope we all had a happy and safe Pride. Whether you're out of the closet being yourself or still in the closet, even if you are still very much valid and very much loved.
Amen to that, absolutely.
Now, as a result, Zad, you made me watch something. What did you make me watch?
Well, it felt fitting, and because as the original Broadway Cats does have of a strong place as a queer icon, on the imagery that it evokes is something that has a lot of beautiful inclusivity to it. But we watched the 2019 version, which through the improper use of CGI and some questionable story structure choices ends up being this weird drug trip that is a bad movie in one of the most enjoyable ways that I've encountered. Because for me, I struggle with some bad movies because I feel like what makes them bad, or bad stories, is that the person wasn't skilled, and so you're seeing their lack of skill. And while it doesn't make the product any less bad, I feel like, well, I can look at my first drafts of things and know that, yeah, it's also pretty bad. And the thing that I always remember is when we sat down and we read some of the My Immortal legendary uh it's not I guess just fanfic, isn't it? Technically, yeah.
Yeah, it was a fan fiction of Harry Potter, and it was glorious in its shitness. Honestly,
Yeah, it's like it's like Harry Potter meets it's Twilight. Because Harry Potter's a vampire for some reason, and it's just super goth, and it's really hilarious. But my enjoyment of it as a bad story is hampered by the fact that I see elements of them like, the only reason people are laughing at my earlier works is that I didn't post them online, and so it just there's a little bit of guilt there, but I feel no guilt laughing at the bad decisions in Cats because this is a movie that had people who know how to write, people who know how to direct, and people who know how to produce, and multiple different groups of people at every step that could have come in and been like, hey, maybe don't do this. Maybe don't do this terrible thing. And so it just makes it wonderful to laugh at the bad decisions because the people involved got paid. They're still going to have careers after this, but it's pretty great. I will say the fact that I've now gone back and retroactively watched the original, which, despite being a big musical fan, I had never seen before. Or now that I've seen that, I do feel like it is bad. It's too bad that this movie wasn't better because the original is very fun, and I can see that a more tactful adaptation would have been great. But it doesn't take away from this being a really fun bad movie. Now, before I begin with my summary, I do want to ask now DMZ, what sort of a musical fan and are you? What's your experience with musicals?
not that much. So I'm kind of the opposite in the fact I haven't really watched many musicals. If you watch the Renaissance Disney era as musicals, there's some stuff there.
That's totally valid. Those are modern musicals and absolutely high quality. Astounding. I mean, good grief. If
Oh, in that case, I watch a lot of them.
yeah, still, yeah,
However, though, traditionally, I have only watched a couple of musicals, at least in Broadway.
yeah.
Yeah, so I watched them Chitty Chitty Bang Bang when I
Mhm.
was about 13, 14, when we went to holiday in New York. That was a lot of fun. And the other musical play that was there was my friend's rendition of Rent,
Interesting.
which
Okay.
yeah. Now, unfortunately, this was like way back, so
Yeah,
I
I
can't
totally
remember too
understand.
much about it.
I totally understand. No
But
worries.
But yeah, it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable. But in terms of traditional musicals
Mhm.
and more traditional plays, I haven't really watched that many. But that's not to say I'm against them
Mhm. No,
or
absolutely.
hate them, anything like that. I just haven't had the chance to experience them.
Oh no, seriously,
Um,
yeah, totally understandable. But I'm just curious, like top three again. The Disney ones are totally valid. It's like top three favorite songs, just so to sort of have because one thing I really noticed with Cats is that it uses a musical cadence that isn't. It's a little more operatic and it's less of my personal preference. And so I was just to sort of set a baseline for what some of some of the favorite musicals or rather than songs, let's say well, again, like what of the Disney movies, like top three, what's some of the ones you really like?
I like Make a Man Out of You. That's
Oh
always
yeah, that one's so good.
that's
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
absolutely brilliant.
It is.
Um, I al- I also like Time Warp from the Rocky Horror Picture
Very
Show.
good. Very good, yes.
And I also and the third one's a little bit more trickier. That from the one that I can remember, because again I haven't watched the Renaissance
Mhm.
one in a good while. I'm gonna say the third one is Shock Treatment, which is a
Mhm.
sequel to
Yes.
Rocky Horror
I know
Picture
exactly what
Show,
you're talking about. Yes.
which for some reason had only one viewing. You can't make a cult bloody film if you don't have people watch it.
Yeah. No,
Richard O'Brien,
that's
please.
fair. That's fair. No, that's absolutely good. Yeah, for me, it would probably be. Now, I grew up watching a lot of classical movies from the musicals was from like the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s range in there. So like I'm a big fan of Hello Dolly, the Put On Your Sunday Clothes, and that everyone in the street is getting involved, and it's just the entire world is wrapped up in these musical moments, and the fantasy of it is just really beautiful. So love Hello Dolly. I absolutely love The Music Man, which is great because it combines two things I love: musicals and con men, and because he's got to con people about the evils of that there's a pool table in your community and you got trouble, my friends, right here in River City. Yeah, love it, absolutely great. And final one is because I grew up in Wyoming and had watched a lot of westerns growing up, even though I'm not a big fan of them now. There's a western musical called Paint Your Wagon, which is hilarious in that it has hard, tough as nails, Clint Eastwood singing as the romantic lead, and it's not a great choice, but it's a very fun movie. So, uh, uh
By the by western, do you mean typical cowboy western, or do you mean
yeah, but Paint Your Wagon though much better. It does have prostitutes though, but less racism, so that's why I like it. More prostitution, less racism.
excellent,
Yeah,
excellent, less racism, more
Baby steps.
prostitution.
Baby steps. Baby
Ah,
steps.
the
It's still a
agenda.
western. It's still a western. It's not gonna be all good, but it's better. And it actually has like a weirdly kind of progressive take on like polygamy, but it's sort of like spun through this like this is the lawless West, so of course we're all godless, and multiple men can marry the same woman and it'll be fine. But like weirdly, that's the one part that's aged well. Where it's kind of like, you know what? Yeah, why not? Do you love each other? Hey, cool. Other parts of it, less so. Great songs though, very funny.
To be fair, like when you actually said the title, I genuinely was thinking something like I was generally thinking of like a musical where it was like the Oregon Trail and stuff like
Yep.
that, and then this thing about fucking dysentery.
Very very close, honestly. Yep. You're really not far off. It's people it's people on a wagon train. Some of them are heading to find gold. Some of them are just heading to find and a place to start a new ranch. Start a farm. And this prospector manages to stop and help them bury one of their brothers when. And one of their stagecoaches rolls over, and as they're digging the grave for the brother, they notice gold, and so then of course they all throw their plans out the window, start a gold town right there, and start panning for gold. And all these people that had hopes and dreams of being things grander and starting a community end up just turning into a bunch of ruffians. And it's pretty good. It's pretty great. We'll have to watch it sometime.
Oh, yay!
Yeah.
Please tell me there's an actual song about a dysentery being sung. Please tell me
Not
that.
not
Please.
not quite dysentery.
Oh,
So they sing about the wind. They they sing about giving a guy a bath so that he can get married because he hasn't had a bath in a while. I mean, just the things you sing about. The thing that makes
fair enough.
the thing that makes it hilarious is that in a weird way, it makes sense that all these people are singing because like they're miners out in the middle of nowhere. They're going crazy. You could legitimately believe that if one person started singing, they'd go, screw it. We'll start singing too. We don't have shame. There's no women around. And we'll just do whatever. We'll all dance and sing. So yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Well, that's a cue for all our for the musical listeners. Make the musical about the Oregon Trail. Have a song
Yes.
about dysentery,
Yep.
and everything will be fine. Okay.
that would be great.
I'm just saying the game needs to be adapted to.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and it needs to be the musical of the game. And don't adapt it from the historical things. Adapt it from the game.
As you can see, we're trying to do whatever we can to try and not
Not talk about
that.
the main thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yes. This one was a hard one to summarize. I didn't plan this as well as I should have in thinking what's the first movie that I'm going to summarize, because the problem with this movie is that the thing that it's based on doesn't have a plot. It doesn't have a story because as the original.
You picked a hell. You actually picked like the worst one to do as
I know,
well.
I did.
You
I really
literally
did.
picked the worst
I really did. But yeah, so that the original Andrew Lloyd Webber or production and from the 80s was based on a book of poetry from 1939 and called Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by T.S. Eliot. So that's the reason why a lot of the music and lyrics don't quite have the same, like not all of the songs hit because they weren't designed to be sung. They were designed to be poetry, and they weren't designed with a coherent story chaining each of these individual things. It's just a bunch of incidents, and it's talking about different types of cats. That's so the fact that they loosely tried to turn it into a plot for the original Broadway, that one worked better, and they tried harder to turn it into a plot for the 2019 movie. And so summarizing that is a little bit tricky, but we're gonna give it our best go. So we're introduced at the beginning to Victoria, who is the OC fanfic, like original character Don't Steal cat that they created for this. She was not in the original works. She has the least interesting name. She is well played by the actress, but I can't not see her as Victoria, the OC cat.
I love that.
Yeah, so we're introduced to her. She is our point of view character, Cat. And we are presented with the first question, which will dog us throughout the entire movie. The question of what is a Jellicle cat. Now, DMZ, you have said that that makes it sound like I doubt. Let me rephrase that. You've told me that you watched this twice. Yes, you watched this twice. It's because as I was sick, and so we had a long delay between the initial plan. We timed the initial time we planned to record this and the time we're actually recording it. So you watched it twice. So in watching it twice, you must know what a Jellicle cat is. I mean, they won't shut up about it. Jellicle cats are small, Jellicle cats are big, Jellicle cats are white, Jellicle cats are black, Jellicle cats are an average size, Jellicle cats are fat. So obviously you know what a Jellicle cat is. So tell me what a Jellicle cat is.
It is a cat that is...
you can take the you can just you can come clean and say you don't know what it is. That's valid.
The answer is I don't know because it doesn't tell me. That's the real reason.
Exactly.
It doesn't tell me.
Exactly. I don't know, and I didn't know the first time I watched it either. So I will eventually tell you what a Jellicle cat is. But yeah, that's the biggest problem initially. Is something that is instantly understood in the play version, and is this question that just never gets answered, and at the end of the movie you're just like, but what is a Jellicle cat? What is a Jellicle cat? We learn so much and yet nothing. Everything we learn makes us question more. It's like a riddle. It's like when Altair was told that nothing is true, everything is permitted, except we never come to the realization that means anything. We're just left wondering what this means.
There is no spoon, Neil.
There is no spoon, exactly. Yeah. But yes. She is introduced to this pack of cats. That's who are the Jellicle cats. That's who I'll sing about how great it is to be a Jellicle cat. And they, while the original play and the recording that was made of it for TV, while that depicts Jellicle cats as a very inclusive thing, as a powerful theme of inclusivity, in the movie it's depicted as something more akin to like the Jets and the Sharks. It's like the Jellicles are this exclusive gang, and it's like you definitely want to be with the cool cats. You want to be with the Jellicles.
Oh, I see.
And so, but I'll talk more about the what the original actually did and the differences is at the end. And so yes, we're introduced to the Jellicle cats, and so of course Victoria wants to be a Jellicle cat. I mean, why wouldn't she want to be when they sound so cool? And apparently the criteria for being one is vague at best, so really she's got as good a chance of getting in as anyone. And now the movie attempts to frame the rest of the narrative with the device that the cats are all practicing for a important event that's coming up, which is the Jellicle Ball, where old Deuteronomy will make the Jellicle choice and pick which one of the cats is going to go off to the Heaviside layer and be given a chance at a new life. And so, as now we're introduced to each of the cats and they sing their songs, we're told that this is them practicing, in which has the unintended effect of making it seem like, well, they're putting a lot of production into this practicing, and yet then they don't actually sing later when it comes to the Jellicle Ball. So why are they shooting their shot and wasting it on the rehearsal? It's like, come on. But the first cat that we're introduced to is Jenny Anydots. And this is a number that really feels like it's the Pink Elephants on Parade of the movie, where you really feel like you should have taken a substance or a lot of alcohol before you watch this, because it starts off reasonably enough. She's singing about how she's a Gumby cat, and then it slowly descends into madness as she introduces you to mice in this godless universe where all creatures have human faces and physiology, and then you're introduced to cockroaches that have the same physiology, and then it culminates with Jenny unzipping her fur, and she's got a fur and other clothes underneath. She's unzipping her skin, and you're just like, okay, all right, I guess I'll be okay. And then the movie luckily gets away from that and takes you to meet Rum Tum Tugger, played by Jason Derulo, who, while being a fine, and I mean, like, I like some of his music, but like Rum Tum Tugger, super great in the original. Really disappointing here. It's unfortunate that his song is great, though, in how horny it is, but it's not as horny as the original, but more explicit. But we'll get to that. What really becomes apparent during his song is the fact that they don't have a freaking clue what size a cat is, because we've seen cats look relatively average, ordinary sized in comparison to the CGI rendered world that they're prancing around in, and then suddenly you see them completely in a completely different proportion. And for example, they're shown next to the stairs, and they barely, the stairs come up like to their waist, so it's like, okay, all right. And then they step outside into the street, and the curb only comes up to their ankle, so they can wildly change size. But don't worry about that. Don't worry about the cat's changing size. If you start to focus on that, you lose your mind. And what you do
too late. You should have warned me about this before we started watching it. You should have.
Yeah, Cats, the 2019 musical is a curated experience. You need a guru to watch it with you, to tell you where to focus your direction. It's like an ayahuasca trip or a vision quest. You need to have a wise person there. But yes, the scene's made all the better.
No,
good.
Yeah, fair. I would also like to point out that at the beginning of it, you would also see Victoria in a bag which looked very small, and a big old giant
Yes.
just throws the damn cat over.
That's a good point.
Now,
and we never see the giant, which was a missed opportunity, because the giant obviously should have had a realistic feline face just to screw with us. And pause. This should be a universe where the humans have animal physiology, and the animals have human physiology.
no, better yet, I would have liked it if it was just like a pure cat face. No CGI or anything, just a cat go
Yes.
meow, and then just throw it into the dick.
Absolutely. Yep. That would. Yeah. And at the end of the movie, it pans out and we see Rod Serling, and he said, "Anything can happen in the Twilight Zone." And we're like, okay, I see. They were monsters all along. All right. Yeah, and we were the monsters. Got it. Perfect. Makes sense. Yes, it is. That's right. That is the one other nice touch at the beginning that I will give them credit to is when you see when it transitions from day to night, from the world of humans to the world of cats. You see a wanted poster that says Moriarty, and when it turns to night, it transitions to Macavity, which is a nice nod to the fact that the villain Macavity is inspired by Arthur Conan Doyle's legendary villain who only appeared in one story, Moriarty, who nonetheless became Sherlock Holmes' arch enemy for every other iteration of Sherlock Holmes.
It's like the Joker to the Batman, you know what I mean?
Yep.
They were supposed to die, but then it was like, I'll come back, it doesn't matter.
Yep, exactly. Absolutely. But yes, so, then, and in Rum Tum Tugger's song, it transitions to them in a milk bar, all the cats just getting freaky with milk, and it's, honestly... it teeters on the edge of devolving into some sort of milk bukkake, which, I feel like I should have been warned, honestly. The rating didn't account for that, and I'm not really comfortable seeing something like that without being warned first, You want to...
See?
You want to understand when you walk into those things,
Yeah, see what actually happened was, what I felt uncomfortable, or at least when I first started to, was, when Jason Derulo grabbed Victoria's foot, I was like, no,
yes,
don't make it a fetish film. It's not a fetish film. Please don't.
Oh, please, DMZ, it's a super fetish film. Let's not get it twisted. Okay, it already is. They just don't lean into that part as far as they should.
Yeah,
it makes the most sense as a fetish film.
It does.
Yeah. Which is why it's funny. That scene definitely makes me feel like, this movie might have been more hentai than Rodgers and Hammerstein, but, oh well. Anyway, then we meet Grisabella, the former glamour cat at end, and we're given a taste of what sort of life could await Victoria if she loses favor with the Jellicle cats and isn't able to run with the cool crowd. She'll be like Grisabella cast out, all because, as apparently she worked with Macavity. Yeah. And then we're introduced to Bustopher Jones, who was clearly Henry Jones Jr., but preferred the name Bustopher, which was, of course, the family dog's name. And played by James Corden, and I mean it's a number.
It's terrible. James Corden's terrible. Yes. I'm sorry, it's terrible.
I didn't want to assume because you're an Englishman, and I didn't want to slag off a fellow Englishman.
Oh no, trust me. The only thing that that James Corden that we can reference without being cringy is where on a show called Gavin Stacey, he lists out essentially what he wants from an Indian takeout. And he goes on a rant, and then it walks off.
Nice.
But no, the thing about James Corden, especially in more recent times, is the fact that compared to then when James Corden was quite unknown, nowadays he is typecast, and like he plays the same fucking character every single goddamn time. And I think that's part of the reason why people don't like him.
Yeah, it does get tiring. It does get tiring. And it doesn't help that you it doesn't help that you know that he's an asshole, and the fact that he isn't playing a different person, it will be like, oh, this is an interesting character. I can separate the actor from the art. But the fact that he's playing always the same character, it's like, yep, there's James Corden. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's there, cool. And then turn off, walk home. I want my money back, essentially.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's sort of a similar problem with The Rock.
Oh, absolutely,
sense,
yes, absolutely. Oh my goodness, yeah. I initially was ambivalent about The Rock, and then as soon as I saw, as soon as I saw more of John Cena, and I was like, wait a minute, you can be a wrestler and like actually be like humble and like have insecurity and like be funny and be an action hero and be all these different things and play these different stuff. You don't have to just be one note all the time. And then I look at The Rock and I'm just like, wow, this is just, that's all you can do, huh? It's just be this character. All right, well,
he literally has
exhausting.
He literally has it in his contract.
Yes, that he can't lose.
He doesn't pay lose.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, okay then.
Which is so boring, because loss is such a great way for characters to grow, to show that this was a challenge for them. And if he can't ever lose in a series of fights, then how is his character supposed to encounter growth? Yeah, it's such a weird, fragile masculinity thing. Like, oh, I'm too tough, I can't lose. That is just, yeah, that really made me like him even less. He's great in Moana, though, but it's more that Moana's great and he's in it.
Which is weird because he posts videos of himself with his daughter having tea parties and like having a manicure with her. So it's like, what is this? What is essentially The Rock is a Gary Stu. There you go.
Yeah, he very much is. Yeah. Which, again, unfortunate. Like, initially it seemed like, could be an interesting person, but it's just some people you learn more about them and you like them more, and some people you learn more about them and you realize that there just wasn't a lot more there.
No, definitely not. To be fair though, the best wrestling actor has to be Dave Bautista.
Mm-hmm. He is good. He is very good.
Yeah. Oh, did you see him in the latest film? I forgot what it's called. The one by M. Night Shyamalan.
I haven't seen the one. I know what you're talking about. He was great in Glass Onion, though. Oh, and yeah. So I'm a big fan of Dave Bautista. I still like John Cena a little bit more, or just because I love some of the interviews he's done, and I absolutely loved him in as his role in Peacemaker in both the good Suicide Squad movie and then the spin-off TV series. But he's just he's so humble and cool. But yeah, Dave Bautista also absolutely wonderful actor. Or I love that they both can do comedy and serious and be heroes and like really very versatile. Really respect that. I really do want to see the M. Night Shyamalan one, because it's M. Night Shyamalan and it's Dave Bautista, and I'm sure we'll have to do a few M. Night Shyamalan movies eventually.
Yeah. Oh, man, M. Night Shyamalan movies. There's something else. There's something else. I want to see how we feel about Signs, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do.
Because that seemed like the most divisive movie.
True, that's true. Yeah, after that, it's just like for a decent period, it's just like, these are terrible. That one, there's some people it's like, no, this is still good. This is still more. I suddenly can't remember what's the I See Dead People. I can't remember what that's called.
Sixth
Sense. Yeah, I kept wanting to say Sixth Element, because that also is a
the Sixth Element, the sequel to the fifth one.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. That's what my brain wanted me to think. I'm like, it's got the same actor in it. Of course, that's what it's called. It's like, no, brain, you're wrong. You're wrong.
I still have no idea what happened to the first or the fourth element, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Yeah. Well, all you need to know is that love is the fifth element. That's what's important. And
oh, okay. And also Chris Tucker's there.
Yes, of course. Yeah, Chris Tucker shows there. Oh, that is a good movie. That's a good movie. But yes, so yeah, we will have to decide what the next movie is and what these next ones needs to be. Definitely M. Night Shyamalan, because the point is we want to do good movies, and we want to also do bad movies that we enjoy, because there's value in seeing things done well and seeing things done either poorly or ideas being structured well, but ideas being good but being executed badly. Because you can have a good idea and execute it or frame it in a bad way. that doesn't serve it to its best capacity. Like Cats. That's for we finally, after Bustopher Jones's section, we finally get to see a really good taste of Macavity, played by Idris Elba. And we see his ability to make people disappear by using magic words like ineffable, which is very fun. And so he disappears, James Corden, and everyone breathes a sigh of relief. And I was like, yes, thank you. The movie's better now. Good job. But the hero of the movie, everyone.
Round of applause, standing ovation, encore, encore.
Exactly, yeah. And then the Jellicle cats just they run off, leaving Victoria there. Really, like in this version, really making you feel like, wow, are these really people who are her friends? And it's like, these people don't seem that cool because they just left her as soon as trouble showed up because she wasn't one of the gang. So she's just left there to fend for herself, and she, might have gotten into some real trouble, but luckily she meets some of what we later learn are Macavity's crew, with the notorious Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser, who give her a taste of a life of crime. But it's fine, and because as then the film misses a huge opportunity by having a barking dog set off as a vase breaks, and the dog's barking, and it chases off the cat burglars, who again leave Victoria there holding the bag. And tragically, we do not get a chance to see the dog, which we can only assume is an even greater monstrous marriage of CGI and facial capture. Or who would you like to have played the dog again in the ideal version? And
Jack Black.
Perfect. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. 1,000 times. Oh, that would be great.
Just imagine that Jack Black in his prime, just barging in and doing a rock solo. That would be fantastic.
That would be great.
And we are denied the fact that the dog did not have a solo is a crime.
It is. It's definitely
it's a crime.
It's not. I mean, the freaking mice and the cockroaches got a few lines. Like, at least give the dog a couple lines. And what's even worse, I know I said that I wasn't going to say this stuff, but what's worse is that there is a dog song in the original. Well, it's performed by cats masquerading as dogs to sort of like poke fun at the dogs. But there is a dog song in the original. So they had the ability to re-edit that slightly and make a dog song, and they didn't do it. Shame. Cowardice.
Oh, I'm so enraged. I'm so enraged by that.
The chance to have a proper Jack Black Tenacious D dog song is just like, yep. But yes, so fortunately, the magic cat, Mr. Mistopheles, comes and helps to save her by distracting the dog, and they escape. Yep. And then we cut to a barge on the Thames where Jenny Anydots and Bustopher Jones find themselves held captive by Macavity and his hench cat Growl Tiger. And Macavity is so intent on winning in the contest that he's decided to kidnap his competition. And with this now understood, he teleports away, and with the magical word meow, really, really stretching the... I mean, like, I'm a big fan of using, like, either in the Merlin TV series, they used, like Welsh, and in Gargoyles, they used Latin, like, magical words, very cool, but, just meow. That's what's one way to magically teleport. And Growl Tiger tries to sing a song, bless his heart, but he just gets ruthlessly snarked at by Bustopher Jones, and his
James Corden. Let's call him James Corden because that's all we're gonna see him as.
It's James Corden, yeah.
Which honestly, it feels like a faux pas to interrupt someone else's song, if you know what I mean.
Yes,
absolutely. The problem is, I think, or at least one of the problems, I should say, is the fact that the tone just feels off because it's not sure what it wants to be. Now, you watch the original. I don't have that, so I have to watch it from a general sort of like a viewer standpoint. I was confused.
Yep, no, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the way I watched it the first two times. First two times I watched it, didn't see the original, and I'm just like, this is a fever trip. I laughed really hard the first time I saw it, and the second time I was a little bit in pain in moments because my brain just refused to take what the movie was showing me at face value.
Yeah, because like here's the thing as well, right? The actual tone of the movie is feels off in numerous ways. Like for example, with Jenny Annie Dot and James Corden, we they're more comedic, but like it's more slapstick, and I'm assuming that's not in the original. I'm assuming that's not in the case, but contrast that with the Jason Derulo song about
Which is super
being
horny.
corny. Yeah. It's only about being corny. Whiplashing it straight away to Grisabella's song.
Yeah, which is super sad. Yes, memories. Yes, exactly.
It feels so. It feels like you get a bit of a whiplash from it because it's like, horny song now sad. What, please?
Absolutely.
And then combine that with the slapstick as well. It's like, what do you want to do here?
Yeah, no, it is. I will say that the original, it still has those elements, but they're melded together in the sort of bombastic aura of this being the theater. And so everything is the same notes are hit, but because they're done in a theatrical way, it's almost like characters with costumes on a stage being more believable, despite the costumes not being as properly, tailored and being the right texture and everything, versus people in a movie having in costumes that look better but still feel off for the era. Something about the fact that you're seeing it on stage makes you prepared for a different experience. But despite that, all the numbers are delivered with a great deal more, I would say, which sounds like an insult to the 2019, but I'd say that it's delivered with more, let's say, a little more gravitas.
Yeah, a bit more present about them, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, that everyone and is doing it at with more confidence, and they're given respect by the parts and by the staging. Like Jenny Any Dot song still has comedic elements, but it leans more into a cabaret number, and so it doesn't flip flop so much. And she is still playing a lazy cat, but she's given an more respect by the part. And Buster Jones's part is actually exceptionally more much less comedic. There's still a humorous element to it, but it leans into more of what I referenced in passing, which is that the Cats musical from the 80s is I think it like ran through the 90s. It ran for a long time. That one, there's this feeling of inclusivity because what they're telling you, and I will spoil what Jellicle means in this, is that what they're telling you is that anyone can be a Jellicle cat. That whether you're whether you're fat, whether you're thin, whether you're young, whether you're old, you are a Jellicle cat. And what that's referencing is it's a dear little cat. And so anyone can be a Jellicle cat. And in the musical from the 80s and 90s, in the songs where they're saying Jellicle cats or small Jellicle cats or black Jellicle whites, the Jellicle cats are black are being sung by cats with black on their coats. And they sort of smile and look at each other, and then it says, well, Jellicle cats, that's aren't average size, or Jellicle cats or this. And so each line is being specifically sung by the appropriate cat, and they're looking at each other, and there's this play back and forth where you can see it's this jovial nature between each other of saying a Jellicle cat can be me, a Jellicle cat can be me, a Jellicle cat can be you, but that's lost in the frenetic nature of the movie, and what you're left with is questions and the film sort of poking fun at people with different body shapes, whereas it's more embraced in the play that anyone can be a Jellicle cat. Whereas in the movie it's more like a cult.
Oh, okay. Well, the thing about inclusiveness did not really come through in the movie. Honestly, I genuinely didn't know that because it didn't come across like that. Because as you say, it feels more like a cult of all things, and also the fact that again, James Corden being James Corden, making fun of his size, it doesn't roll well.
Exactly.
And it again, as I say, the tone's all off. So the thing about inclusivity doesn't really, translate well into this movie because it's not there. It's just not there. Because especially when we cut from Jason Derulo to Grisabella, who is where she's essentially shunned because of the fact that she went with McCavity. No idea why she did that. No idea why.
Not in the original movie either. Is in the original one. They don't fully explain why she's shunned, but it's more sort of that she's old and she's past her glamour days, and so it's sort of the young cats being like, she's not one of us sort of vibe. So it's I will give them credit for trying to explain it, but I will also take that credit back away because they explain it poorly.
She's supposed to be old?
Yes, she's supposed to be old. That's why that's why it's sweet that she gets the Jellicle choice, because that's why she wants a new life. It's because she's very close to the end of her existing one, not because as of the cultish reasons in this movie. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That makes more sense. That makes more sense.
So wait a minute. So DMZ, you're telling me that Cats 2019 that part of it wasn't well explained?
I didn't. I didn't.
The movie makes perfect sense. I believe I'm on record as listing off all the points in which it makes perfect sense, and flawless film.
I didn't take the drugs, okay? I'm sorry. They're expensive nowadays. Leave me alone.
Yes, that's fair. Yeah. I didn't include the red and blue pill. Well, take the red pill and you'll understand Cats perfectly, but the rest of the world will make no sense to you. Take the blue pill, and you'll think that Cats was a fever dream. And you won't be able to appreciate it, but you'll go through this for your life if happy and fulfilled. It's like, such decisions.
Okay, blue pill it is then. Excellent. Okay then, cool. Also,
the logical choice.
Also in the original, because in the film, Growl Tiger, as you say, had his song cut off. Now he does have a poem in that collection by T.S. Eliot. Now, does he have a full song in the play?
No, he does not, but they make up for it by having a racist song about heathen Chinese. So, parts of the movie were probably adapted better than the original Broadway.
Oh, fair enough then. Fair enough. Well, to be fair,
the rest of it, I'm watching it, I'm like, this is great. I'm sad I didn't see this. And then I come to that song and I'm like, yeah. There's that.
Okay, all right then. Fair enough.
But I'm a fan of classic movies. I'm used to that feeling where you're watching it, and you're like, this is really good, and then someone just hits a woman, and you're like, oh yeah, that was the thing they used to do, and it was okay back then. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
It was fine, I suppose. Yeah. They didn't know any better. They didn't know any better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was their problem.
Christ.
They didn't have understanding. Yep.
It's not an excuse, by the way, people, but like the whole point of that is a case that you understand that it was a different time period. And as
long as it doesn't because I'm a big fan of classic movies, but because of that there's this scale, and like for everyone the scale is different, and I totally respect that. There's some things where it's just like, if it's in the movie, you just can't enjoy it, and I totally get that. For me, I'm usually able to be like, okay, is the main theme of the movie something that is good and that still resonates, and does it have these couple of offbeat moments where they included a comedic beat, or an instance that at the time was just a minor trope that they would use without thinking, and nowadays is huge. And if that's the case, then it's like, okay, I can forgive this. If it's a movie where that's the whole point, it's like, yeah, then it's really hard to separate art from era. But whenever possible, you do want to factor in what's the era that you're watching this from, and what would or wouldn't be acceptable for them, and use that to rationalize. Because, yeah, if I watch a modern movie that's got something like that, and it's just treated just fine, I'm like, I know these people did it maliciously because they should know better. Back then, they should have known better, but they didn't. So it's not defending them, but it's understanding that it was a less enlightened time. And because white men weren't told, hey, think before you do dumb stuff.
Good times. So speaking of which, I believe this is I believe after Groundhog scene, we see Victoria and the magic cat, and then we meet the Bible verse.
Yes, we're finally introduced to old Deuteronomy. They played it wonderfully by the national treasure of England and herself, of Dame Judi Dench, and who apparently wanted to be in the original musical, and so she was given that role. Actually, is a male character in the original, and so she was going to play. She wanted to play a different character in the original, and wasn't able to, and so knowing that for this new one, and they made sure to include her and make this part for her, or change it to I don't know whether she originally was going to be someone else, but I mean, who else could she be? She's Dame Judi Dench. She needs to be someone with gravitas, and there was no way she was playing Jenny Anydots. Can you imagine Judi Dench playing Jenny Anydots?
That would be a trip. So just to confirm, just so I understand it clearly, Deuteronomy in the original was a man, or at the very or at least at the very least male identified, and now they change it.
Correct. Yes.
Gotcha. Cool. No, interesting. Interesting. I didn't know that. Good stuff.
Obviously, I don't know who the characters were in the original poems. I may know all the side characters in Star Wars, but that's because I have a problem. I haven't read the original Cats play. I have only so much time to devote to obsessively learning things that aren't going to help me in my everyday life.
Fair enough. Well, to be fair, all Deuteronomy with Judi Dench, again, it fit very well because she played it very seriously. I think. And there's always a sense of as I say, gravitas present with her.
Yes,
as
exactly.
well. So honestly, yeah, good casting.
Yep.
Good casting. Even if the CGI makes her look like a cross between the Cowardly Lion and Theoden King of Rohan when he is
Yes.
enthralled by Saruman.
Yes.
I remember messaging about it, and you were like, I can't unsee it now.
Yes.
I can't unsee it now.
You're right. Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah. It's definitely like I guess I'm giving up on my discussing too much about the original while I'm talking about this. Like, I love the costumes are so cool in the original, and I will fully admit that part of that is that I'm a big 80s fan, and so I look at them and I'm like, the Thundercats costume, the Thundercats art style was totally an homage to this, and like they've got the same cat hair that Wolverine and Beast do in the 80s comics. It's great. It's
that's
it's
cool.
So
that's
beautiful.
cool.
Like it's like, and they still have props that are missized, but because it's a play and because the stage is a fixed thing, they only have one background for the entire thing. It all takes place in this one area that's kind of junkyard like it makes it more dreamlike. And even though they aren't, like, I will admit they aren't sticking to a specific, a cat is this size, so all these props should be this size, like it's also dreamlike and pantomime, but it works in that setting because of this. The fact that there aren't perfect CGI backgrounds that are the appropriate size, and then not the appropriate size, and they're holding things that aren't the appropriate size. Like the props work, but like the costumes are legitimately great. And the biggest thing that I notice is how weird it is that Bomb Ballerina, the Taylor Swift role that's coming up in the new one, and Rum Tum Tugger, or the Jason Derulo role, both of them are main characters in the original, and they are there throughout the entire film. Whereas in this, they only show up for their songs and Jason Derulo for like 2 other scenes toward the end. And you really get a feeling for the Cats as a community. And while there are some characters that do come in and out and aren't always in the background, the core central ones of Monkus Strap, the narrator cat, at Mr. Vistopheles, the magic cat, and Rum Tum Tugger, and Bomb Ballerina are all always there somewhere on stage. And it's really weird not seeing them always being present. And because those are such big roles, and like, I can sort of understand Taylor Swift's character not being there because it was probably expensive to have her on stage. But on the other hand, like, why not be in the movie more? Because like, I don't know, and like so many more of the songs in the original are ensemble. Well, there are larger sections of the songs where other cats are singing about this cat because they don't have the framing device. Spoiler: the original one does not have the framing device that the cats are singing about themselves, preparing songs about themselves to impress Old Deuteronomy. There's still the framing device that Old Deuteronomy will make the Jellicle choice, but they're all singing about themselves to introduce you, the view, the audience member to this. You take Victoria's place. As the Jellicle cats are explaining to you their lives and who they are. And so it works better when and the a lot of the songs cadence makes more sense because I can see now that like for example when and we're introduced to Gus, that's the theater cat, that like literally half of his song in the original is sung by this other person who's helping him. And like, as much as I love Ian McKellen, and the actor who plays Gus in the original is so, like, his performance is different, where it's playing more on advanced age and sort of a little bit of possible dementia, whereas instead it's just advanced age for Ian McKellen's character. But but Gus, and the other thing, he just, when they talk about that his paws tremble, his paws have been actively trembling before that, and the way this other cat is helping to sort of help him through his song, and then the fact that he sort of, as the song picks up, he sparks a little bit, and then he starts to sing his song and comes into a greater sense of confidence during it, but then sort of loses his way toward the end and becomes confused. Like, it actively made me tear up during it because I've seen that in my own relatives, and it was portrayed so brilliantly here that it made that a really powerful moment. And that was definitely a moment where, like, the original Broadway version doesn't do the best job of keeping that consistent theme like you talked about, but it does a better job than this. But still, that is a moment that hits so much harder. And the one element that really shocked me, from seeing the 2019 version twice and then seeing the original one, was that when he mentions his best role, well, as this terror, or I forget the exact name for it. In the original, you actually see this ghost version and of this just shadowy figure with glowing eyes that was him in his prime, portraying this character. And at first it sort of hovers behind him, and then it sort of circles around and almost dances with him, and at one point it reaches out its hand to him, and he sort of reaches out his hand to it, and then it disappears, and you really see that's him interacting with this memory, and it really plays up the idea of him in his prime. And it's so weird that you see Mr. Mistopheles, the magic cat, trying to add magic to this, and then all he adds is a flashing lightning effect in the background. It's like, summon the image of him as the terror. It's like, come on, what's wrong with you? Oh, technology has advanced. You can make this even better.
You have an entire song singing how fucking great you are at magic. Give me fucking do that.
Yeah, and that's the one other thing that I will jump ahead to say is that the original works as a tableau of just, hey, it really is more of a, like, honestly, there's almost no spoken lines about, like, it's all song. So it really works. It really is acting more like an opera. And so it works on that level. But if you wanted it to fit into more of a story structure, the choice they made to have each of the cats' introductions and be them actively sort of auditioning for the Jellicle Ball makes more sense. But if they wanted to do that, what they should have done is move the songs around, have all the songs that are introducing the cats be after they introduce Old Deuteronomy. And what they should have done is have Mr. Mistopheles, the magical cat, have him actively have the same level of magic as Macavity, which is what he has in the original. And in this, have him use his magic to transform the stage to actually, like, be a doorway to real settings. So then you can still have the vivid, different worlds of, now they're in an alleyway, and now they're in someone's room, and now they're here and there. Because, like, they almost did that later with the wonderful Skimbleshank song, that's the next one, and where he's dancing and suddenly he's just on a train track and there's no explanation. But, like, imagine if they had Mr. Mistopheles opening a portal and then suddenly the stage opens up on its railroad track, and it's understood that, like, he is making everyone's audition and all the greater, because, like, that would that would keep the spirit of what they were trying to do, but it would fit the songs better into that structure, because as it is, the fact that they tell you the cats are auditioning by singing songs about themselves feels patently false, because as initially they just dance for or Old Deuteronomy, and then suddenly we're introduced to three of them actively auditioning, and it's like, well, if you're going to have them all audition, move the songs around. They already moved the songs around from the original some, so move it around more. Do that to justify the different locations by making Mr. Mistopheles confident in his magic. And then you can have this sort of dreamlike quality where you can slip into different worlds, but have it still all have this thin framing device of the cats are auditioning for Old Deuteronomy, because it isn't the worst framing device when you're forced to change from the interactiveness of the audience setting of, hey, we're doing this for you, to instead, hey, we're trying to win the Jellicle choice. It's at the Jellicle ball. Like, it isn't bad, but it's just ham-fistedly executed, and because they don't commit to it. But all that being said, Skimbleshanks, like, I will ask right now, what is your favorite song in the movie? Because for me, 100%, it's Skimbleshanks' song.
Yeah, it's same.
The tempo is much faster. The tap dancing where he imitates the click clack of the train is great, and that actually isn't in the original. Also, or at least I will say it's not in the recorded version. Obviously, I know that Broadway productions go through different, they try different things. So maybe it was in one version and it wasn't in the version I saw. But like, that's a brilliant idea, creating that click clack with a tap dance. Because again, I'm a big fan of classic Hollywood, and so tap dancing, Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers, huge fan of that art, and so seeing it portrayed here, really fun. But yeah, the whole Skimbleshanks song, great, love it, easily the best number in the film.
Yes, and also it's probably the closest thing to a traditional song. It feels like.
Yes, absolutely, because yeah, all the rest feel more like poems, which makes sense. Whereas this 100% feels like a song. Feels great, high energy. It's good in the original too, but I can't decide whether I like it more in this because more of the songs don't hit in the new one compared to the original, or whether the imagery helps it here because that extra thing of the tap dancing. And yes, he's wearing shoes, and before that we see two cats that are sort of like gangsters, kind of like hood cats almost, which is really weird, and they're wearing sneakers, and it's like this feels wrong. I don't like this, but like, yeah. To answer your question, and everyone wears really, the shoes are tailored in to their leotard or fur suits that they wear that are really nicely designed, and so it looks like they have more cat-like paws as for feet. It's not like big. It's still obviously shoes when you see them do sort of ballerina moves, but it's more akin to a ballerina's ballet shoe than it is to like a loafer.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
It works really well in the original. Here, it's really distracting because I didn't notice it. Somehow I didn't even notice it when Jason Derulo's like smelling Victoria's foot and fetishizing all over it and being like, finally feet pics. Subs for feet pics. Great.
Oh,
cool. Awesome. But then I saw the two sneaker cats and I'm like, what the. God dang it! And then Skimbleshanks comes out, and I'm like, I remove my objections. And look, am I impartial? No. Oh, do I have prejudices? Yes. One of the prejudices, I think tap shoes belong in a movie about dancing cats, and I think that sneakers feel weird when like the only thing about those cats, when other cats get other cool costumes, is one of them has an earring and they've got sneakers. That's like, that's not cool. At least they didn't give them baggy pants.
I guess, yeah. And just to clarify, I hate the fact that you took the shoes from me. That's the one thing I wanted.
Yes.
you got him. Yeah, how could you?
I know. I'm sorry. Yes, you're one thing.
Yes. My one thing, shoes. No, that's not weird. People, please. However, so
yeah, exactly. I prefer to see people with their feet covered. It's an anti-fetish.
Adidas. So here's
I'm just sad that the sneakers weren't Nike because they missed a sponsor opportunity. I mean, like, what's wrong with them?
I'm surprised they didn't take it. Honestly, I would have thought they would in a film like this. Honestly, I really thought they would.
Well, they were trying to pretend that it was Victorian England, and I suppose Nike sneakers would look amiss.
Oh, okay then. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
they've got standards, is what I'm saying. They've got standards in cats.
Yes, of course, standard in 2019 cat. Now,
Hmm.
for a little bit of context, I did actually notice the first time I watched this because I even said to Zan, I was like, why are the shoes here? It really takes me off, and the reason why it takes me off is because of the fact that it doesn't look that way for the rest of the movie. So all of a sudden, you just see these cats have shoes.
Exactly, it's the inconsistency.
Exactly, and like I wouldn't mind it so much, but they literally had like a little mini solo choreography thing, right? And
Yep.
that showed them very clearly. So like I had no
Yes.
choice but to notice it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Taylor Swift's Bomb Ballerina has heeled shoes, so where she's strutting around, but she also has breasts, which none of the other cats have. Why is this a thing?
please, first of all, please don't Google why did Taylor Swift have breasts. Please don't do that. I'm sure you'll be on a list.
Yeah.
But here's the thing as well, right? It's the fact that because that it's so open, and you see it blatantly, you have no choice but to recognize it,
Yes.
and then actually be like, what the hell is all this about? Now, I think I can excuse Gimpleshank's song because of the fact that one, I loved good tap dancing anyway.
Yes.
I'm a sucker for a
Exactly.
good tap dancer. But also because of the fact that it's clearly a part of the song and choreography, and they use it to enhance that song. And so
Exactly.
that's fine. But when you just have sneakers, it's just like, well, okay then. But like you can make the argument that it's because of choreography. But my counter argument would be like, don't
Yeah.
don't have
Yeah. You
choreography
had.
that involves shoes.
Yeah. You had the choice to not put them there. Why did you choose to put them there? It's just. Yeah. I don't like. It's just. It's so weird, and like I didn't it made the movie worse for me when I noticed the sneakers, because before that I didn't think about their feet. And I was like, wait a minute, they all have bare feet except when they don't. When they do have bare feet, they have bare human feet. But do I want them to have cat feet? I guess maybe not. But like again, in the original one, like it's all part of the costume and it's ballet like, and it's like, it makes sense. They're not bare feet, but they're not sneakers either. So you're like, okay, it works. Like the costumes are good. And they're obviously artistic representations. And it's like, yeah, would it be cool if it was like very like articulated? It's sort of like, apparently, like I've seen images of like the lion heads from the Lion King play, where they're wearing like these full articulated sort of lion heads. They can actually like sort of lunge forward and the jaws open. Like, yeah, that would be cool. But that's not the art style they're going for. So that's fine. And but like just
No,
but just why do some of them have shoes? It shouldn't be an issue, but the movie makes it an issue by refusing to pick a lane on other things. So you're trained to see the weird inconsistencies where it's like, what's going to be missized now? What's going to be cat size versus not cat size? What's going to
yeah,
be worn by a cat versus not worn by a cat?
and keep in mind, if they didn't bother with it, we probably wouldn't even notice. But because of the fact that they're just there out in the open, it does
Exactly. Yeah, it's more effort to put the shoes in than it is to not have them.
exactly, yeah, exactly. So it's like you have to recognize it,
Yeah.
but if you don't, then it's fine. But it's weird. It's very weird. It's very weird. Also, I think we missed something. I
Mhm.
think we missed Isabella's solo and Victoria's kind of solo as
You're right,
well.
absolutely. I apologize for this. Yeah, yeah, yes. We had, the yes, it's Grisabella's song "Memory," which it is very well done in this. I still think I kind of prefer the different, the like everyone sings larger in the original, and it makes sense because they're singing to the back of the audience. But that's such a powerful song that having that extra energy to it, like Grisabelle sings that song really well the second time in this movie, but the first time its cadence is slower and it's kind of lower, and it's slower too in the original, but it's still big, and I prefer the bigger version. But that is a powerful song. Again, Victoria being the self-insert OC, don't steal. Original character cat. She gets an original song. Those, or at least it wasn't in the original. Maybe it was in the original poetry, but it's not the original.
Yes. So there is a song that was mentioned where Android Lloyd Webber and Taylor Swift created one new song for this, and I'm assuming it's that one. Well, because of the fact that, as you say, Victoria, it seemed to be a self insert, and reading that does make sense. Come
Yeah.
to think about it, especially with Isabella singing memory and then everything else moving on. I get that. I guess you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Now looking at that because. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to me. Well,
Hmm.
weird and not weird at the same time. In the sense that if Grisabella was a man, I swear there would be romantic undertones. But because you have said before that she's supposed to be old,
Yes. Mhm.
it's like, well, bugger.
Yeah,
but,
your plan goes out the window there.
well, it's not the fact that it's gonna go out the window. It just changes. It changes the song. It
Because
changes the
it's
song
weird,
in a
because
way.
her song feels like Victoria's song feels like a direct response to Memory.
Exactly. Exactly. And like,
Especially with the fact that Memory, from my understanding, is the standout song from the Broadway play. And so it feels weird to make the new character have a counter song to the like most renowned song. It feels almost a little bit disrespectful to Grisabella. It's like, you know, you're right, it would make more sense if it was a romantic duet where it's each person's, because like Victoria's very much singing her perspective, which as a young cat is different, but she's had her own woes, and like it's it's I don't know, like it just feels weird to place it where they did, because it's such a strange hitting. It's like Victoria's arms aren't long enough to box with God kind of thing, you know.
honestly,
Was.
honestly, if they did want it to be romantic or at least have romantic undertones, they should have put it in when she was abandoned by the gang.
Exactly. Once more, it feels like, and like that would be such a great moment, because like we're not introduced to Victoria with a great sense of who she is, and wouldn't that be a cool moment? She's thrown out by a person that we don't get to see, because this movie hates us. And she's walking through the empty streets and she's singing this, and then that song brings the cats. That's and then they come and find her. And they're like, "Hey, come on, and you should come to the Jekyll Ball." Well, what's the Jekyll Ball? It's like, oh, old Deuteronomy's gonna make the Jekyll choice. What's that? Oh, come on, we'll tell you.
Exactly.
Like that would be a really good way to introduce her. I mean, like it's literally the way that. I mean, most characters come in with an introduction, and yet her introduction comes halfway through the movie.
Exactly, and it feels so off, and it makes sense from the film perspective that it would have some romantic undertone, even
Yeah.
because of the fact that again, this is from my limited understanding of musical, that they did in a traditional way, is the fact that when you sing at least when you have a solo, it is a very powerful, it's supposed to be a very powerful,
Absolutely.
emotional thing, right? And when you sing another solo, straight afterwards, seemingly to that other person,
Yeah,
it
usually
does
that's
have
implying a.
exactly.
Exactly.
It implies a romantic connection because of that. Because of the fact having a solo in a musical is a very important thing. You don't use that lightly.
Absolutely, and to further add credence to your point, like as I said, most of the songs in the original have large elements of them that are ensemble. Well, and Memory is one of the only ones that is almost entirely, or it might even be entirely, I'm trying to remember, just by Grisabella. The other cats will, like a huge part of the beginning of the of James Corden's song in the original, when it's not James Corden, it's instead what's the cat's name? Buster Jones. The whole beginning of his song is sung by the other cats introducing him. Same thing with Jenny Anydots. Like big parts of their songs are sung by the other cats. And Memory is sung almost entirely, if not entirely, by Grisabella. So it's a very powerful statement, and yet it feels strange to then in this movie follow up with original OC Don't Steal Victoria.
I mean, I wouldn't have minded it too much because because of the fact that because it's an adaptation, I get because without that, because it seems like without that audience, it doesn't make that much sense, at least from a traditional film. So I can understand. So I can understand why Victoria is introduced and why she was created. But yeah,
But again, like with so many things in the movie, it feels like a half measure. Like if you want to introduce her, you need to flesh her out more. You need to make her integrated into the group. And really, the only like she interacts with Mr. Mistopheles the magical cat a little bit, and she interacts with Deuteronomy, and she doesn't have a meaningful interaction with anyone else. Like, she has songs sung at her, and she's in songs with like Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser, but you don't feel that she is, becoming a part of this. She's just sort of there.
Yeah.
And you don't get a feel for what her personality is. What is she doing? And how does she feel about this? And I would be all like, I'm oftentimes I respect more a bold choice to diverge more from the original material if you have a specific vision that needs these changes. And 100%, the biggest problem with the original Cats is that it doesn't have a plot. It's adapted from poems, and it works in a theater setting, but adapting it to a movie, they needed a plot. Just, like Fantasia works, but just like nowadays, we really want to have a plot. We want to be taken through the story and understand who characters are, and it's hard to do that if it's all just incidents. And so I feel like I feel they didn't make bad decisions by trying to put a framing structure in the story, but they didn't commit to it. They didn't and flesh out Victoria. They didn't and show what are her relationships to these people. What does she feel? What does all this mean? Instead, she's just she feels like the point of view character, and that's why I keep. And it feels like I'm slagging her off, and I don't mean to be doing that. But just like, she literally feels like the silent protagonist in a first person shooter or an RPG, where you don't expect them to have a lot of personality because you're supposed to give them the personality from your actions. It's like, does she choose to help Grisabella get the Jellicle choice, or does she screw her over, and sleep with Rum Tum Tugger? Choices.
God damn it. But also, but yeah, as you say, it's the fact that they didn't commit to it, and also the fact that when making adaptations, okay, well, my dog didn't seem to like cats. Fair enough. I feel the same way, Charlie. It's fine. But no, what it was is that that when you're adapting a thing, I think the most common criticism, at least in the online criticism, is why do you just make it exactly like the book? Well, you can't do that because of the fact that, like, if you do, it will be so bloody long.
And also the language of storytelling varies differently from books to movies to games to theater, and you need to adapt the story to the, and even we can really feel it nowadays in TV, the way that TV, the language of TV, as far as we understand it, is this 20 episodes to a season and sort of syndicated structure. And now they're trying to figure out what that means in a setting where they don't need to hit that syndication and cap of, well, we want it to run for X number of weeks so that it can be commercials and we can fill the lineup and blah blah blah. And so sometimes we've got these prestige things that are shorter, but sometimes we've got things that are too short, and it's like, well, 6 episodes, it's like it feels too long to be a movie but too short to be a TV series. And so we're trying to figure out what the new language will be for setting that. And it's the same thing with movies and games and books. Because you need to adapt, you need to tailor this to the new medium to take advantage of that the best way, because there were choices that the original author made, or director or producer, because that medium wouldn't allow other choices. And now that you're in this new medium, you need to take advantage of those choices. As books excel in the visuals created from the descriptions and actively using the reader's imagination to make something more fantastic than the author was able to fully convey. Whereas movies actively need to paint those backgrounds, and so they need to create all this fully visualized, and if they don't make it fantastic, then it's not going to look fantastic. And so everything has its advantages and disadvantages. And yeah, it 100%, it doesn't fail from being too much like the original. It fails from not committing to being different enough, because it needed to have an actual story that had a beginning, middle, and end, and it needed the characters. It needed at least one character to have an arc, and it would be wrong to try to put an arc for everyone in, but it would make sense to lean hard into, maybe Victoria might have even needed 2 songs, give her an introductory song and then uh, maybe give her, like you said, give her either a duet or a response song to, if we're pairing her with Mr. Mistopheles, that's fine, but, have her interact. And, like, even when Mr. Mistopheles is propped up later, which we're getting to that part, she isn't the one who does it. It's Munkus
Yeah,
Strap, the narrator cat. Like, come on. You seem to be implying that they have a connection, but then she doesn't do anything.
exactly.
Like, it's not hard.
It's so impure. Exactly. Oh God. And I think that's also like part of like why I said there is like some romantic undertones there between Victoria and Grisabella, and it's not just because
I would
Kat.
be all for that. That would be awesome. And it would be an interesting way. Like, honestly, if they chose to go that way, that would be an interesting thing, different direction to take Memories. Is where it's showing, like, hey, because Memories is so much about all the, all the good things are in the past, all, and the pain and everything, and, it's very much about the past. And Victoria's song feels like it's, could start to lean into, hey, if it had some extra verses, it's like, we can make a new future. And that would be an interesting change if at the end, and Grisabella is the one who is chosen, and instead she decides, no, I'm not ready to move on to the heavy side layer. That would be interesting. That would be powerful.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And like, here's the thing: when like, if Grisabella was a man, I don't think anyone would dispute the romantic undertones at all.
Absolutely.
Because of what I said before
Hmm.
about the implied connection between the fact you have a solo and a response to that solo in the form of another bloody solo.
Yeah, that is very much the language of musicals. And honestly, like, the original Cats is very queer in the best way. So, and, like, this movie is good in some places of trying to lean into that, but it would be really cool if it did just straight up lean into it and just, have a gay romance. That would be awesome. Like, they're cats. Who
This,
cares?
this,
You know?
exactly. Yes, and also I just want to say this outright. Sapphic women exist. Okay, they do. They do. And that's
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Fight me in
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
comments.
Yeah. But
but no, but yeah. So like having Cat be a gay icon and then having like a sapphic romance would actually be again a new direction, and it would be interesting, especially if you're gonna make Isabella younger. If she was older and they did that, I feel like there would be less undertones there because of the age
yeah,
difference.
and I do feel like, once more, like, no disrespect, like, some of the songs are markedly less good in the new one, and some of it is just, trying little different mixings, or the people not having as good vocal range. And so, to my discredit, I don't. Some of these people are, people that I know, but I don't know the actress who plays Grisabelle. She plays the heck out of it. You know, excellent singer, really well done. But
Yeah.
because of the context of the Memory song, I felt like I connected more to the version in the original, just because the actress is
Mm.
older, and so it really leverages those themes of memory, and the looking back fondly on the past, but also the pain of the past as well. And this just sense of longing was stronger with that feeling. And I understand that, especially with the idea of her being the glamour cat at who's fallen out of favor with the cool crew, it makes more sense that she is younger, so that it's playing, that what's caused her to lose favor isn't her age, it's her association with Macavity. Like, that works. But the sense of faded glamour is really palpable, especially in an old Hollywood sense, in the original. And the song just, personally for me, it hits harder. Not necessarily that it's sung better, but the context really works. So it would have been much more interesting to see a totally new context for this.
And again, it leaned into the trope of like of what I said before, where the protagonist, in this case, Victoria, would would feel romantic feelings for the exile. essentially. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. It makes sense because she's coming into this group and feels a little bit like an outcast herself, and then here's this other person who is an outcast as well, and it's like, well, hey, what's your story? Yeah, I mean, that would be what's more. It would tell us something about her. Cause like that's why I keep saying, oh, these self-insert OC character is because she isn't anything. We've got Munkus Strap, the narrator cat. He's the one who's always he never gets a song about himself, but he's the one with stripes who's always introducing people. Well, other songs and is always in the background, and we've got. Skimble Shanks, the railway cat, that isn't in the movie enough, and we've got Mr. Mistopheles, the magical cat, and then we've got Victoria, the blank cat. In the movie, they say she's the white cat, and it's like, well, great, just give me something.
Exactly. Of course, she's the bloody white.
Make her sassy, make her depressed, just make her or angry, make her something. Just give me something, because like the part is well played, the actress does a good job, but she's given nothing. She's given nothing, and just like it's like, come on, just and like even Victoria, all the others have these outlandish names, and initially you feel like, oh, they explain early on that a cat has 3 names, and so you feel like, oh, Victoria's her first name, like she's gonna get her second name, and like how cool would that be if it's like she gets her second name and that's her second song, is she's picked her second name, but then
I thought it was 3.
It is 3. That's what I'm saying. The cat has 3 names. The first name is the name they're given. The second name is the name that's theirs. And then the third, and then the third one is the secret name that they never tell. Well, and like that would be interesting. Weave that in. Make that an element. And then if you want to lean into the romance, have something with there. Like she whispers her true name to Grisabella or something. It's like just something. But like it's Victoria. You've got Bomb Ballerina and Bustopher Jones, and then you've got Victoria. Victoria is a name that a regular person can have. Like, I don't know about you, but I haven't walked down the street and thrown a rock and hit 5 Bustopher Joneses. Like it's not a common name.
I mean, to be fair, every day I have Hey 5 James called, I think you would have a standing ovation.
Yeah, but just like,
in all honesty.
But just like, come on. I mean, like, the only other name that's normal is Gus, but he says explicitly that Gus is short for asparagus, so even that's a weird name. But like Victoria, come on, at least give her a cool name. And I thought for sure early on, it's like, okay, that's her first name, she's gonna get a cool second name. Never happens. And like use the songs, and then use the song as a Chekhov's gun. You mentioned the cat has 3 names. Have her then get a second name, and know that you're never gonna get the third name because the cat never reveals its third name.
Exactly, and like, and like the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, so I heard the song and I was like, all right, cool. So is it cool? So are these their second names? Did someone give the cat name of Mr. Mistopheles or something like that? What's the second name? I don't know what the second name is. What's the point of the song? What is the point of the bloody song if it doesn't have any impact part of it? Now, again, as you say, it's part of the poem, the poem collection. But the problem
it worked as a poem. It's been now adapted to Broadway. In Broadway, things can be more grandiose. There's an operatic tradition, but now it's in a movie, and in a movie we need reasons for things. We need things to pay off. We need things to set up things. And not everything needs to set up something, but if nothing sets up anything, then something should set up something, because otherwise it's a movie about nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And like, and part of the reason why I feel like we feel this way is because of the fact that this goes towards this can be considered a bit of a buzzword, I suppose, quote unquote. But it goes back to charm. Now, when we talk about charm, or at least of me, what I think about charm, I think of things like, as you say, traditional Broadway played. I think of the time where in the New Hope C-3PO had a silver shade instead of into pure gold. And like the part where you can see David Prowder's eyes in Darth Vader to a certain angle, that kind of thing, because it shows that it's not perfect. It's not perfect in any particular way. But,
exactly, nothing is perfect, and you shouldn't try to make things perfect. Everything's going to have flaws. It's not the pursuit of perfection. It's the pursuit of adapting the flaws as best you can into a structure that feels like there is a sense of purpose.
Exactly, right, and with film, especially nowadays, you don't have charming moments and stuff like that, because everything is Everything is very high budget. Everything's edited in terms of
And
like
especially when it's all CGI background, like everything was put there for a specific reason, and there isn't able to be those accidental moments as easily where something happens. It's like everything was explicitly planned out, and the greater the understanding that everything had a purpose, the more you have to criticize the lack of polish when people are given the ability to put purpose in everything and choose to put purpose in nothing. And because it wasn't that, oh, we were filming on location and it was a jungle in the background and we couldn't, we didn't see that tower back there. It's like, that's fine. You were filming on location, but this was all done on a computer. They can choose to make everything exactly as they want.
exactly, and if, for example, like on my second watch, I noticed, and I probably told you this as well, that they did digitally cover their hands with fur and something like that, right? Which in certain angles really puts me off because it's CGI, not pure
They're
that
not practical.
It's unpractical. It's because of that. It creates a conflict as well, right? In that because when you're watching like a high budget film like that, you do have the expectation of like things are going to
Absolutely.
be perfect in the sense of that consistency and
Yes.
whatever else. But especially when it's CGI, right? But because of that, it does throw you off. Whereas even if you attend a Cat Broadway play, for example, you understand in the back of your mind, I'm not going to get CGI. There's going to be practical effects. They aren't going to be the best thing ever. I recognize this, but it's charming because of the fact they have limitations.
Exactly.
Films don't really have that much limitation anymore. They're limited by budget, but their budget is over the fucking
Exactly.
top to the point where sometimes they can't even make a profit, which I find amazing. But
I mean, this film should literally be called Cats: Wrath of the Uncanny Valley, because like the fact that the cats' faces are not stylized enough, that they are different enough from being human, and it creates this, because like the cats are stylized just enough in the original that it has such a cool aesthetic, and you can get into that headspace. That's like, does it look silly? It's like, of course it does, but you can see the artistry behind it, and you can see the creativity, and you can be like, okay, I can get behind this. But at literally like every third or fourth scene transition, and it feels like you're stabbed with a needle because you just see these faces and your brain just screams at you like, that's not how a face is supposed to look, because it doesn't look like a human's face, and it doesn't look like a cat's face, and it doesn't look like a cat human's face.
exactly, yeah, and so which brings me on to my next point in the sense that like, why was this even made? Because cats can only exist in charming things like the Broadway play. So adapting it to film literally doesn't make sense to anybody.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it is. Because of the fact that, if you're not gonna if you're not gonna make it like the Broadway play, right? Then I don't understand why you had to bring it to film. Because of the fact that what makes cats, at least from what I know, what makes cats charming is the fact that it's a campy play that makes no goddamn sense.
And I will say that like you can see the care and the imagination that went into the original poetic verses, is because it's like, and I like this is the different thing that I bring to it, because I'm a cat owner, huge cat owner, I've owned cats all my life, big cat person, and so many of the references that they make in the songs to things that cats do, I'm like, yeah, I can totally see that, that's a cat thing. And so it has so much, that lends it so much charm, because this is the equivalent of someone taking out their phone and going, hey, look at this funny thing my cat did, except it's in movie form. And so like the original leans into that, but like this, it's hard to have that same charm, because just as you would be okay if your friend showed you a cute cat video, you wouldn't enjoy it so much if your friend made a 2-hour long production and of the funny thing his cat did. You'd be like, I mean, I guess it's okay. You could have used that money for like a mortgage or something.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, and then I believe after Skimbleshanks.
We finally get to Macavity, the big main number. We finally get it. it's finally time. I'm Skimbleshanks spins off into the sky.
We bye.
Yeah, and Macavity appears. And we get introduced to what's supposed to be one of the main characters. There's Bomb Ballerina, played by Taylor Swift. But in a thing that disgusts me, apparently the director doesn't understand cats, so he didn't even know about catnip. And Taylor Swift's dad was like, "Well, maybe it should be catnip," and he's like, "Catnip? That's a novel idea." And I'm like, "You're making a movie about cats. What's wrong? Why is this Why hire a cat? Hire someone who has cats to like read the script and like insert cat things." But like, yes, I do. This is one change that I do like because it isn't super in the original. Well, Macavity has sort of just like evil cats that just like come in and help kidnap up old Deuteronomy. But here having Mungo Jerry and Rumpelteazer help when they're referenced in the song as being like sort of in his employ. That's a cool touch. The Macavity song is great. Although it's both hilarious and also chilling when you're left with the understanding that Macavity has apparently committed every crime known to man, because I mean that covers a lot of things. And I have I won't go through all of them here, but I have made up my mind at some point to make a ASMR of me either being Macavity or being Bomb Ballerina, depending on how much I want to lean into doing my VTuber stuff, doing gender bent things.
Yes.
But I've lots of crimes that he could commit. For example, he could jaywalk in Jamaica. That's a very, very serious crime there. He could kill a man in Kilimanjaro. That's just that's less for the thrill and more for the pun. And he could go to Wisconsin and throw rocks at a train. Very, very, very serious things. He could sell dog hair in Delaware. Don't know why that's a crime. Apparently it is. He could flush town morale down the toilet by maliciously mispronouncing Joylet, Illinois. Very, very important. Apparently, the town's very sensitive.
That's an arrestable offense.
Apparently so. Apparently, at least years ago, I don't know whether it still is, but yeah, apparently, Joylet, Illinois is sensitive about the fact that its name is one letter away from toilet. So gotta be careful when you're there.
Then just change the bloody name. Just change the name.
Or you could apparently he might have worn a polo featuring Winnie the Pooh in Poland. Apparently that's a no-no. I don't know why. The internet told me my favorite by far is apparently it is a crime to give cigars to dogs in Illinois. Apparently that's a real problem. Too many dogs smoking stogies. It's not okay. It's not okay to give stogies to slogies in Illinois. It's not okay. Don't do it.
Did you just make up a tagline for the crime? That's amazing. Slogies for hoagies, everybody.
No, stogies for slogies. As I had to look up a dog breed that rhymed with stogies. It's like, there we go. Yeah, don't
fair enough. Fantastic. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I would 100% be on board with the Bomberine. The Taylor Swift. There you go. I'd be on board with the Taylor Swift ASMR. There you go. I expect a blonde wig and everything now, so I have to do the part.
Yep.
Oh, blimey! But then, what did confuse me though is I think like shortly after that when they're on board the bard and stuff and they're sort of like just trying to push Deuteronomy back in the sea because apparently she was like you won't be my choice, and then he's like yes I will, transport into the ship and then try to kill her. He's like this isn't going to go the way you want, man, because apparently without her you can't go on board you can't go to Heaviside Leia. So like it's an issue there, man, but okay. Especially since like cats are very known to swim.
This is another area that diverges. Like it's so weird. So in the original, Macavity, instead of stealing the rivals, instead he just steals Deuteronomy, and then he comes in dressed as Deuteronomy. And for a moment you think, oh, thank God, Deuteronomy escaped. And then she, oh no, it's Macavity in disguise, and they actually fight him instead of fighting Growl Tiger. They fight they fight Macavity, and like Monka Strap the narrator cat has like a slash off with him, and like it's really cool. And then and then he gets knocked down, and then all the other cats band together because initially they were too scared, but like no, we can fight Macavity, and so they all get together and they fight Macavity. Yeah, and also like it's weird that Bomb Ballerina is depicted as like Macavity's henchwoman in this, because like in the original she's one of the regular cats, so like that's a weird, like, why are you making her a villain? Like she's not a villain in the original, she knows of Macavity is evil. Well, but it gets weird. Why do they not fight Macavity, played by Idris Elba, in this, but they do fight Macavity in the original?
Because Idris Elba will probably kick all their asses, in fairness.
But that's
it is Idris Elba.
I know, but still, it's like, come on, it's Idris Elba. Just like, what's wrong with you? I do love. When I wrote, I didn't go so granular for everything else, but I wrote down the exact components of the fight with Growl Tiger, because it just so embodies everyone's special abilities. It starts off with Jenny Anydots unzipping her skin again, as you do.
You would have thought she would have done that before as well.
Yeah, you would have, but I mean, yeah, cats, they they've got a lot on their mind. They've got to contemplate their third name and all that, busy, a lot to do. But yeah, she slips out of her skin, and that helps free them. And then James Corden spits a hairball at Growl Tiger. That's perfect.
That's what he does. That's what he does on the weekends.
Really lending a lot of presence to that role. Really makes that character feel respected. And then Skimbleshanks tap dances Growl Tiger out. Uses his skill as a tap dancer to tap dance Growl Tiger out into the plank, and Gus lunges forward and goes, "You shall not pass," and sends Growl Tiger to his death along with the Balrog tumbling into the depths below the bridge of Khazad-dûm.
If no one has made an edit of the Lord of the Rings and Cats where that happens, where it's just Growl Tiger going down instead of the Balrog, I would be disappointed. Do that, internet, thank you.
The cut to Elijah Wood, and he's like, Gus!
Gus! That'd be fantastic. But no, okay. But what you said about the fighting Macavity is interesting, because I know that one of the poems is called, at least not called. I think it's like where it talked about the demise of Growl Tiger. So I thought that was part of the poem.
Interesting.
Where they band together and just sort of like do it because when I first saw that, and then we see Ian McKellen just make him drown, essentially.
Mm-hmm. He channels his role as the Terror, or back in the day, and somehow scares him off.
I
really wanted him to grow tall, like Gandalf is described as doing, where he's like, "You fool that took." Want him to do that, but he didn't. Because cats can make themselves grow tall. It's called stretching out. Cats are elastic.
Yeah, absolutely. They can fit in surprisingly weird places as well. But no,
yes, they're cats are liquid. This is the thing.
I am aware of that meme. But no, but no. So like, I think in part of the poem, well, I think at the end where where Growl Tiger does die, because originally I was like, they just murdered someone. They just murdered someone outright.
Yeah, their paws are dirty now. They're bloody. They won't be able to wash the blood away.
And then everyone's like, "Good job, Ian. Good job."
And they don't explain. They're on a boat on the Thames. How do they get off? It's like Mark Twain. Yeah, they just draw the curtain of charity. It's like, it's fine. They got off the boat. Don't worry about it. It's not. You're watching Cats. Gosh dang it! It's not the time to start worrying about things like this. The movie's almost over.
Yeah, it's all we almost at the credits. Oh, thank goodness. Oh man.
Keep what little sanity you have. But yeah, so anyway, the Fellowship rejoice along with oh no, that was the Lord of the Rings. Sorry, back in the back in the Jellicle Ball. Everyone's very 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 worried. Yeah, how are we gonna get back how are we going to save people? And they come upon the obvious answer, which is peer pressure. They're gonna peer pressure poor old Mr. Mistopheles to a magic old Deuteronomy back, which doesn't happen in the original. He's confident. He's like, yeah, I'll magic her back. I'll magic him back. That's easy.
Yeah, because I brought this to attention as well. It's like, yeah, that's just crawled away.
Yeah, it is.
Like, can I do it?
But they knew what they're doing because like it so fleshes out the relationship, the way that the Victoria comes and supports him, and like it's so beautiful seeing the way that she supports him in his magical endeavors. Like it really, it sells them as a couple. Like I feel it. Oh wait, no, sorry, that was in my head. It's Monka Strap, the narrator cat, who's just like. And like it's so weird, the tone of that song, because in the original it's triumphant. It's like, heck yeah, Mr. Mistopheles is gonna save the day, the magical cat. But in this, it's like, oh, Mr. Mistopheles, you're so great. Oh, you're gonna do it. Oh, he's totally gonna choke. Mr. Mistopheles, oh, he's the most magical cat. Oh yeah, you're gonna do it, right?
Yeah, it's really. I don't.
The tone, like the song is sung almost the same. It's like it is a little bit less triumphant, but like it just the framing makes it feel so disingenuous. Like I understand they're trying to puff him up, but the difference between in a cheer of yeah, this is happening, we're gonna save everyone, until we need to like I'm someone with crippling insecurities. Like I cheer, I applaud him for succeeding. I don't know how he succeeds. It kind of feels like the movie's just like, oh shoot, this needs to end. Oh look, she's there. Like I could like I thought for sure. I rewound it. I'm like, oh, he wags his wand at her bed. I'm like, oh, they're gonna show that his wand flicks when he brings it back over his head, and so it actually magicked her back there. No, that doesn't happen. She just appears behind him just for reasons, just cause.
Cool, nice, congrats. And also, like I kind of get the hesitancy in terms of the fact that we see throughout the film in what little we do see of the bloody cat.
Yeah, he's the one character who's fleshed out because we see him being anxious about stuff. Like he's got
exactly. So the hesitancy makes sense. That's an arc.
Yeah, I respect that. He has a beginning, middle, and end. He's nervous.
But the lyrics don't fucking match it.
I know, it doesn't.
That's what I don't get. I know. I hate it.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. And again, it would be nice if, because apparently he and Victoria end up together at the end. Maybe, I don't know. With Deuteronomy back, like the Jellicle choice is made, and Victoria's instrumental in getting to coax Grisabella back. It's like, no, sing your song for old Deuteronomy. And she sings Memory, and it's so powerful, and she really does belt it out here. It's really good. And like, this is...
Does she sing it twice in the original?
Yes, she does. So this is the same.
Oh, okay, fine.
And like I will definitely say that Memory is the most beautiful song, but just from my personal sensibilities, I really love how catchy Skimbleshank's song is. Like, that's really fun. Memory is, especially knowing that these were poems, like Memory really translated well into a song. Like very well done. But she is, the Jellicle choice is made, and it's her. And I can't help but think of Matt Pat's video where he talks about how the cats in this movie, how the Jellicle cats fit perfectly into a cult framework where you bring people into the cult and you make them feel part of the family, but you make sure to always keep other cult members with them so that they don't interact with non-cult people. And then after a while, you show them what it means to be isolated from the cult and how bad this would feel. And so, that's all the stuff with Grisabella. And then like when she's temporarily away from everyone, and all the Jellicles ran away and Victoria's all by herself. And it's like, oh no, this is what it'll feel if I'm not part of the cool group. And then right at the end, and Grisabella is picked because that makes perfect sense from a cult standpoint of she's the one who had the scales fall from her eyes. She's the one who knows what it feels like to be an outsider. We need to get her away. We need to send her to the Heaviside Layer, which is fancy words for murdering her, obviously. And it's just like, and in the original, old Deuteronomy rises up with Grisabella, and Grisabella's old, and so it feels like it could be this is a metaphor for now she is going to ascend and then be reborn, and these stairs do come down that are wreathed in lights and smoke, and it feels like a stairway to heaven of clouds, and Deuteronomy helps sort of guide her up there, and then she takes the rest of the steps by herself, and old Deuteronomy's there, and instead here now Deuteronomy just loads her onto a hot air balloon and just goes, have fun.
Bye.
It's like the wizard from the Wizard of Oz. Who's just like, come back. I can't. I don't know how it works. Grisabelle does know how that hot air balloon works. She's just gonna fly away, and I don't know where. She's gonna end up in Oz. I guess is our best case scenario.
And worst case scenario, she will visit Cthulhu.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Just cat Cthulhu, the great old deep one, and who lies sleeping in a box in Relia. But yes, and then with the Jellicle choice made, Macavity says, "Wait, I'm still in this movie," and tries to jump onto the balloon, and then slips off and lands on a statue. But it goes, "Okay, I've got magic." And then he says, "As ineffable," and the magic doesn't work, mostly because the movie's over, and like it would be weird if the villain was still here and he didn't get defeated. But like, there's no time left in the movie, so it's just kind of let's not worry about it. That's it.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the aliens in any alien movie where like they're really good the first half and then like, oh shoot, we need to be able to defeat these people. And by the aliens I don't mean the aliens in Aliens, because that's a different thing. I mean like the aliens in an alien invasion movie where like the first half of the movie,
like Signs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very scary. And then the second half is like, oh shoot, humans need to be able to defeat these people, right? I guess the aliens suck now.
Yeah. Oh no, we invaded a planet for that one weakness, water.
Damn, yeah. And we came across all the stars, and yet in spaceships, probably, I don't know. But we came down naked. It's just, I don't know where we went wrong. I can't. I am looking at the plan, and like it's flawless. I don't know what we did wrong. It's like that time we invaded Mustafar naked, and we were just like, this can't end badly.
Fair. Yeah, fair. So you say also, I'd like to point out on the barge, Idris Elba teleported with Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift's nowhere to be seen again.
Exactly.
I don't know whether he was like, you know what, I'm gonna drop you off here, Taylor. Don't worry about it.
And again, it's so weird because like Bomb Ballerina is one of the stars of the original one. She's in so many of the songs. She's a supporting character in so many of the songs. She's always in the background. The actress who plays her has amazing makeup. She just has one of the best looking makeups. It's just like I will say because I'll finish it because we're almost at the end. And old Deuteronomy, they decides that she's Deadpool all of a sudden and addresses the audience, which makes sense in the original, but here it's made all the more horrific because Mr. Mistopheles like looks where she's looking. It's like, what's she looking at? And Monk is struck the narrow cat kind of he looks like he has this happy expression like, oh, she's telling us about cats, but part of his expression kind of looks like, oh, her dementia's acting up again. She's talking to no one. It's sad, really.
Also, to be fair, Judi Dench, she'll do what the hell she wants, and no one will question it.
Yeah, but it's just like it's a weird choice to make at the end, and then
it is weird, yes.
And then Mr. Mistopheles, the magical cat, and Victoria have a moment together, and then it's just old Deuteronomy and Victoria, and finally the thing that's been gnawing at us the entire movie, the great question finally becomes unanswered. Will Victoria become a Jellicle cat? Oh, thank God. Oh, yes, she... Old Deuteronomy... Well,
yes, Queen, we slay!
Old Deuteronomy says, you are a Jellicle cat. You're like, oh, thank God. Oh, I stood up... I don't know about you, but I stood up and cheered. I was watching it at home. I did. That was the stand up and cheer moment.
Yeah. By the way, the moment between Mr. Mistopheles and Victoria was shared by fucking Grisabella and Victoria, which again, it's well, okay, it's not enraging by any means, but it's annoying in the sense that, like, you have a gay iconic a musical, and you have that scene with Victoria, especially when like you have Grisabella being as you say, young comparatively, and then they have the moment where they just nuzzle each other, which I'm not sure how to feel about that, quite frankly. But yeah, again, it's just more romantic undertone that's never been addressed. But we're supposed to believe that Victoria seems to like the Magic Cat.
Yeah.
Even though I don't understand.
Well, because he's the most fleshed out character. She recognized this, and she's like, I want that. I want to be fleshed out too.
I don't want to be with him. I want to be him. There you go. Sorted. We stand a Sapphic for Victoria. Exactly. But no, I'm not going to make a 40-minute video about the Sapphic romance behind it. Please no, I don't want to do that. But there we go. But yeah, so that's Cats. That's it. It's
Yep, that is Cats. That's I will very briefly say a three things that really stood out with the original. Well, one, Jason Derulo sucks so much as Rum Tum Tugger because the actor who plays him is so incredible in the original. Oh, and his song is like apparently his song was like a gay coming out for a lot of people, or at least a sexual awakening, because like as horny as his song is in this, it's like way hornier in, and like he's so much cooler, and like it's really good in the original. The actor who plays him is incredible. It's John Partridge. It played it in the film, the 1998 film version, which is what I saw. Incredible, just very good. And then the way that once more the framing leans into the lightheartedness so much more. There's still problems with tone, but just the lightheartedness of the lyrics of talking about how each of these cats does their own goofy thing. Like it just works so much better, and I'm like it stands out so strongly that there's the line between Old Deuteronomy and Victoria in the new one, and where she's like, Old Deuteronomy's like, do you want to watch me make the Jellicle choice? And Victoria's like, oh, can I? But I'm not a Jellicle cat. And Old Deuteronomy's like, well, maybe not yet. Maybe you will be one. And it's like, everyone's a Jellicle cat. A Jellicle cat means a dear little cat. Everyone are Jellicle cats. This isn't about exclusion. This is about inclusion. It's like, it's the main theme of the original story. How can you screw this up?
That's why we excluded someone in the beginning, to show you that.
Exactly. It's just like yeah. I mean, like they don't fully explain why they exclude Grisabella. It's in that is a thing that isn't perfect in the original one, and like I said, they've got one song that's racist, but still the original, well, super fun. I saw commercials for it all the time when I was younger. Don't know why. I know why I didn't see it. It's because the only version that exists of it is that can be watched. Is a recording of the Broadway play. It's well done and edited with close-ups and stuff and some special effects. So like it's not just a static camera. But I was more used to full production things. So I wasn't as like the pacing is different, and so I can see that younger me would have probably been like, oh, this isn't as interesting. Thing. But now I'm kind of like, I wish I'd seen this when I was younger, because it's so 80s. It's so great, and because it leans into, because cats are always spreading themselves and are like, the whole thing has this very sort of sex positive sort of vibe to it that kind of carries over to the new one, but like somehow by having them be CGI instead of people in costumes, it just, I don't know, it feels weird. But yeah,
it loses that charm as well, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, the charm is massively lost, and yeah, like I can definitely see the queer icon status that the original Cats has, and I'm definitely glad that I'm glad that you talked me into seeing it just by showing that you had put more thought into this than I had, and I was just like, oh, we'll watch a funny movie, and you're putting thought into it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, because
if I don't put thought into this, because I'm the artful narrator, I should narrate artfully.
Yeah, because what happened was, while I was watching it, I would also send Xander's questions and just my general thoughts, and I remember doing it the second time, where I put the stuff, and he was like, "Oh, I suppose I have to give a shit." Essentially.
Yeah, I was like, you're thinking way harder about this than I am. I'm gonna need to actually do some proper research. And like, we won't always have more research, but like whenever possible, I want to understand more, because the point of this isn't oh, funny bad movie, or oh, this is a great movie just because we like it. It's like, what are the things that we like about this movie and obviously work, or what are the things that don't work about this one? Because it's all about understanding how to be better storytellers ourselves eventually, and apply these lessons, and definitely with something like this, I understand the new Cat so much more from watching the old, because I can see that so many of the choices that were made for the new one, and are just copying over things they did on the Broadway play. But in the Broadway play, it worked because it was leveraging the operatic themes of the stage, where props don't need to always be a perfect size, and where you can have a looser structure, where the plot doesn't 100% need to have beginning, middle, and end, and build up and rising tension and character arcs. That you can have that, but you can also just have great singing and great choreography. And the choreography felt so tangible in the original, and it just felt very ephemeral and just non-existent in the new one, just because of the change in medium, and because even though I'm sure there were real people making these dances, having then a CGI cat skin put over them, put in a CGI background, it loses. There's a lot of that artistry, and so even though people worked really hard on both ones, and you see the craft of the choreography and the costuming and the makeup up and the music and the dance and the singing and everything in the original, and in this one you just see all the mistakes and all the weird choices. But I understand now why those weird choices were made. This movie had a legitimately good chance of being good. Like if they changed the movie 10%, if they'd changed 10% of the decisions they made to leverage more narratively grounded things that, used the strengths of movies versus theater, it would have worked. But they adapted too many things too faithfully and didn't lean hard enough into the changes they made. So I now appreciate why it is the way it is a little bit more, and I still love it for being a beautiful train wreck that is still enjoyable and has good stuff as well as mistakes. But part of me does wish that the right choices had been made, because I can see why people love the original, and I can see that a Cats musical could have worked, but it would have needed a lot more changes and a lot more diverges from
it needed to be adapted
the original
properly rather than just a copy and paste job.
Yeah, it really did. It needed a lot more changes. And yeah, where would you? So now, having seen Cats, that's the misguided the misguided 2019 musical. Well, where would you put it in the among your favorite musicals? Well, I mean, obviously this is. Obviously this is usurped the Time Warp and Rocky Horror Picture Show. I mean, clearly, it goes without saying, right?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, what happened is it usurped it so much, it's down back at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it looped around on itself. Yeah, yep. It went so high that its wings burned off like Icarus.
Exactly. The Ouroboros of the musicals, where it ate its complete cycle, eating itself back to the end. But I can't.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. Yeah, sorry for subjecting you to this. The next ones will be funner, but
No, they won't. In fact, I'm gonna make it worse for you now. I'm gonna make it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, one last thing. What is your favorite cat? You got to tell me before it ends. We got to know, who is your favorite cat.
I don't know. I don't even know most of their names. That's the problem. That's one of my other problems with the film I did bring up until now, is the fact that I don't even know who the hell they are for most of them. I don't.
How could you not know Munkustrap, the narrator cat, the cat whose name is never mentioned, and you only know it if you read the wiki?
Exactly. Skimbleshanks. There you go, Skimbleshanks.
Yeah, Skimbleshanks. Yeah, same. Yeah, Skimbleshanks is the best. Yeah, Skimbleshanks. Thanks. Rum Tum Tugger and Bomb Ballerina in the original. Skimbleshanks in this.
But yeah, thanks for listening. I hope we do hope that you have enjoyed yourself. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep. Thank you so much for the privilege. Until next time.